Well, migrants are often accused of stealing jobs, but they play a crucial role in the global economy. Let's get some perspective from reporter Michael Marillier, who's tracking the numbers for us. So, Michael, you're looking at the value of so-called migrant money, remittances. What kind of figures are we talking about?
Massive amounts, Jane. It really is incredible if you actually track how the value of remittances has grown over the last few years and you compare it to the value of foreign aid that is sent to countries who are struggling economically. Let's actually focus on the numbers, Jane. And what you'll see here is that the value of remittances, the value of foreign aid and the value of foreign direct investment was relatively similar about 20 years ago, but it has changed dramatically over the last 2 decades. So right now, in terms of foreign official assistance, so that's aid, Jane, we're looking at about $160 billion that's sent to low and middle income countries. Foreign direct investment, that's around about $350 billion. Remittances, Jane, are close to $500 billion. So that's migrants who are sending money back to their home countries. Now, you might say, well, why is all of that money leaving our shores? But remember, they are working in their adopted countries, so they are generating economic activity in those countries as well. And, of course, they're spending money in those adopted countries at the same time. And some experts actually argue, Jane, that remittances are much more effective if a country wants to help another nation which is in a bad situation. So rather than sending aid to the country, if you support migrants, it's a way of financially supporting them very directly because the money is going to the people who need it on the ground. Jane?
Okay, so the COVID crisis is obviously hurting the bottom line in almost every country around the world. No doubt that's bad news for migrants.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring that up very quickly, Jane, and I'll take a quick look at those numbers. The so-called COVID effect in terms of remittances. So the value around the world actually climbed to $548 billion in 2019, hitting its peak just before the COVID pandemic arrived around the world. It fell last year to $508 billion, so that's a drop of about 7%, Jane. And the experts saying that it should reach $470 billion, so another decline in 2021. They're also warning, Jane, about the cost of money transfers. The United Nations has actually said that this is a major obstacle when it comes to migrant money. Effectively, Jane, what's happening is that, if migrants were to buy a Coca-Cola drink, and then give it to their family or the migrants themselves would have to pay to open that drink. They would have to pay every time they sip on the can of Coke. That's really what's happening every time they send money. They're having to pay massive charges each and every time. And we took a look at some of those charges, Jane. South Africa to Angola, for example, a charge as high as 17%, in fact 19%, when you send money to Angola. Zambia, 18%. Malawi, 15%. You get the picture here. And the average around the world is just 7%. I actually spoke to a professor who focuses on immigration a little bit earlier, Jane, and he said it's crucial that we try to contain the fees when it comes to money transfers, because that's one way that we can help migrants who really are just trying to survive.